Okay, so I'm gonna probably go into an awkward monologue at some point. I'm making ramen, so I'm going to go ahead and head up to the gate. So yeah, there are things in this world that I really don't like, and that's one of them is having to continuously do this, but I want to play this game without cheating. So, we're back to a time when I only had level 11 and maybe 2 level 21 words. My puppy's been so cute the last couple days, like just acting so adorable. But
victory is ours. Sword dance! Ogre sword! Gale blade! Ogre sword! Gale blade! Lateral move! Sword dance!
Have you learned your lesson?
okay. Let's see here.
Wow.
I know, right? Walmart.com has a lot of great stuff.
And now get 5% back on the things you buy there with the new Capital One Walmart Rewards cards.
Say what?
5%
Here goes!
5% back. What's in your wallet?
Yes, nailed it.
Bernie Sanders won the Nevada caucus in a landslide on Saturday, and now some pundits in the Democratic Party like possibility that he might be the Democratic
Lateral move! Sword dance! Lateral move! This is it!
Okay!
Here I come! Ogre sword! Sword dance! Lateral move! We did it!
The story of the night, Amy Klobuchar, now in third place. The story of the Sanders campaign so far this year is how much ground he's lost from 4 years ago. That's right. By winning states, Bernie is actually losing ground. You see, it's all about no, you don't want to win the first two. That's a rookie mistake, wherein you come off as needy, or as the kids would say, thirsty. You want to throw everyone off by losing a bunch of states, playing it cool off to the side until someone finally says, who's that fella with 0 delegates? No, seriously. No, seriously, who is that? Ah, alright. See, according to pundits, you don't want to actually win the first 2 states like Bernie did. You want to follow the
First strike!
I'm going to fourth in Iowa, fifth in New Hampshire, and sixth in the first time Biden ever hugged someone, but
Sword dance!
and not only is and they kept insisting that if the monarchy just
Sword dance!
that candidate should be Bernie. Bernie Sanders may have but if you look at the numbers more closely, it shows the candidates hitting a ceiling. If you look at the combined percentages among the center candidates, they're doing much better than
Sword dance!
That's right, if you just combine the all you have to do is find a way to genetically combine them.
Sword dance!
Call the children by the other side.
Let's keep it up!
What do you do about healthcare? We must step forward into the future. I'm from Minnesota. Corn Pop was a bad food. But the reality is that most actual...
Be careful, everyone!
They don't divide candidates into a so-called liberal lane. They don't divide them up in the lanes. They let them each their own reason. Like
Sword dance!
They're like people trying to create
Shadow Flash! Gale Blade! Lateral move! Sword dance!
It's just going to be a 4-hour open house. Stop by, maybe eat before you
We
come.
did it!
Say what you will. Say what you will about the
Right, I
guy
gotta
who
go
does not
deal
care
with
about
vomit.
status. He has one suit that he irons by running it over with his car, I guess.
The world is an unfair place. And I'm not referring to the game, although the game is kind of punishing. I mean the real world. We have lived in this hellhole our entire existences, and yet we never stop to consider what would happen if it really disappeared. I mean, sure, there are other worlds, but we'd never be able to go there. The magic in this world is too weak. I mean, someone could swoop in and save us, pull us into that other realm, into one of the other realms, but the odds of that happening have been historically low. Really low. In fact, in almost every version of reality where the Earth ends, no one comes to save us. No one. So, what should we do about it? Well, we should take care of our planet, not encourage global thermonuclear war, and generally be good people to each other, you know? It seems like it's too much for some people, you know? As a result, the world always ends. Usually, in my lifetime, hopefully this go around, won't. There are enough differences between this and the last 100 times we've been through this that maybe we might survive. Maybe. But given that the last 4 years have been on loop for so long, I can't recall. Honestly, a guy can dream, and the girl can hope. Then there's me, who both hopes and dreams and fails miserably at both. Yeah? Grab my Gatorade, grab the ramen, coming back into the bedroom. You're gonna have a lot fewer food breaks when it comes to me being back at my parents' place. Because we're not allowed to have food on the carpet unless it's a mealtime or we're all watching the same thing. And we're not allowed to have food in the basement, which is where I will be living. Yes, I will be one of those people living in their mother's basement. I acknowledge that. But they decided not to turn my old room into an exercise room, so I mean, there's that. So anyway, back to grinding and back to politics.
He shoots layouts with two hands, and he's been photographed in the middle seat and coach, and that is the only time he's been centrist. But even the pundits and Bertie himself could not deny his clear status as the frontrunner after an overwhelming victory in Nevada on Saturday, the first diverse state to vote in the primary, in which Sanders seemed to win virtually every demographic.
Sanders indeed won a smashing across-the-board victory, according to our entrance poll. He won among men and women, college graduates and non-college graduates, liberals and moderate/conservatives, union and non-union members, people who decided early and people who decided late.
That boss
In short,
right there.
Sanders crushed it.
Take a look here among self-described moderate or conservative Democrats. That's a third of this electorate in Nevada. This is what you're seeing. Sanders is actually leading. NBC Wall Street Journal poll asked, who are you most enthusiastic or comfortable about when it comes to the Democratic nominee? Bernie Sanders leads with 65%.
He was powered by young voters, Hispanic voters, very liberal, and those who supported Medicare for all.
And he won union voters, non-union voters,
I'm sorry.
Hispanic voters, men, women, liberals, and conservatives.
Here it comes!
Okay.
Here I come! Sword dance! Shadow dash!
Are Latino
Ogre sword! Sword dance! Sword dance!
He photocopied
Gale blade! Let's keep it up!
MSNBC warning that nominating Bernie would destroy the party and even suggesting that Russian President Vladimir Putin was rooting for him.
It's going to be the end of the days. So I'm scared.
First strike!
I really am.
There's a certain
Lateral move!
75 years old. Why am I here doing this?
Sword dance!
I am scared to death. That's Moscow time.
Sword dance!
Actually succeeded in a double Rengeki.
always looks like he was
little track record. In 2008, he said then Senator Barack Obama was unelectable and attacked him to the point where even Obama hit back and said James Carville is well known for spouting off his mouth without always knowing what he's talking about. In fact, Obama was specifically responding to this comment Carville made about Hillary and Obama, and this is a real quote: "If she gave him one of her cojones, they'd both have two." All right, I'm having trouble following the logic here. So that means she was starting with 3 cojones? And yet somehow that wasn't even the most unhinged response to Bernie's win. Chris Matthews actually compared Bernie's victory in Nevada to the Nazi invasion of France during World War II.
I'm reading last night about the fall of France in the summer of 1940, and the general, Renault, calls up Churchill and says, "It's over." And Churchill said, "How can it be? You got the greatest army in Europe. How can it be over?" He said, "It's over." So I had that suppressed feeling. I can't be as wild as Carville, but he is damn smart, and I think he's damn right on this one.
As a general rule, anytime a man of Matthew's age starts a sentence with, "I was reading last night about the fall of France in 1940, that's your cue to exit the conversation.
Let's do our best.
He's like your senile grandpa screaming into the phone on FaceTime. "They banned me from the golf course for not fixing my divots. This is just like 1940 when the Nazis
Jesus.
died." All right. Stop doing it, Grandpa.
He's one of the named bounties. Retry.
Let's get going.
This isn't even the most insane communist executed incoherent
Hero counter.
I have my own views of the word socialist.
Don't cry later.
I remember the Cold War. I have an attitude. Cold War. And I might have been one of the ones who
Hero counter.
okay? So I have a problem.
Shadow Flash.
Bernie's points over these years. I don't know what he means by saying it. Why don't you that's just
Hero counter.
Denmark was almost pretty clearly in the Denmark. How do you know? Did he tell you that? Well, I mean, that's what he said, and that's what his agenda calls for.
Just as a reminder, that whole thing started with this.
I have my own views of the word socialist, and I'll be glad to tell them, share them with you in private.
Chris Matthews is definitely the guy who says this really fast into his driving and then talks to his other full minute. I'll tell you what I think about this movie.
Here it comes. Sword dance!
Because they perceive both Bernie and Warren as threats to their livelihood in the future, regardless of how you feel about any particular
Sword dance!
You might want to know. Like so many voters are flocking to Bernie Sanders, and yet when you ask them if they do
Don't cry later! Ogre sword! Gun bolt! Sparrow counter! Rattle boom! Sword dance! Here it comes!
Okay.
Here I come! Ha! Shadow Flash! Sword dance! Lateral boom! Sword dance! Shadow Flash! that's that, I guess.
Whew. So that guy did play PK, the other guy, and that sucks. No, oh, there it is.
Rap! First strike!
Rip movement!
Sword dance! Lateral moon! Sword dance! Lateral moon! Sword dance! Lateral moon! Gale blade! Sword dance! Shadow Flash! Lateral moon! Ogre sword! Sword dance! Shadow Flash! Sword dance! Ogre sword! Sword dance! This is it!
Okay!
Here I come! Ha! Ogre sword! Sword dance! Let's keep it up!
This is painful.
I bet.
find something interesting to watch.
When we hit the stage together, it's honestly nothing but fun. And it's the moments where we bring our live show to our fans in cities like Los Angeles, where it's truly sweet. Listen on Spotify for a playlist with delicious music by Kid Cat.
Make 2020 a year to remember. Chase more sunsets. Climb more mountains. Make more memories. This is the year to set yourself free. And now is the time to start. Polaris clears the way for year-round riding with snow-taming tracks, heated cabs, and the industry's only automated plow mode. New year, new you. Polaris. Think outside.
Well, let's play this other clip of, this is Michael Bloomberg first saying he earned his billions through hard work.
Mayor Bloomberg, should you exist?
I can't speak for all billionaires. All I know is I've been very lucky, made a lot of money, and I'm giving it all away to make this country better. And a good chunk of it goes to the Democratic Party as well.
Is it too much? Have you earned too much money? Has it been an obscene amount of... Should you have earned that much money?
Yes, I worked very hard for it, and I'm giving it away.
Thank you.
I've worked very hard for it, and I'm actually going to get tax deductions on this. Do we have that clip of what $1 billion is? Let's play this, because this is something that I don't think people really fully understand. I mean, somebody tweeted out this really great video where a guy tried to show, I guess it's a TikTok. It was tweeted out by Beezer Cool and Nice.
It's Humphrey Talks on TikTok.
Humphrey Talks on TikTok. And this is the short version. And here, this is self-explanatory.
The scale of $1 billion is really crazy. So let's say 1 grain of rice is equivalent to 100K, and 10 grains of rice would be then 1 million. Well, how much is 1 billion? So my Saturday night consisted of counting 10,000 grains of rice, one by one, just to show you guys how much $1 billion is. Of course I filmed it, and of course I time-lapsed it, and this is playing at, I don't even know, God knows how fast it's playing at, but... So now I'm proud to present to you the results. That is $1 billion, where each grain of rice is worth 100K. Look how much rice this is, guys. That's crazy. I just bought you like a Lamborghini right here, and I didn't even notice it was gone. Here's a 5 California. Oh no, look, I still have all this money. If you guys like that content, please follow me. I drop a video on personal finance every day. Thanks.
Okay. Now go back just so that people can look at that disparity between 100,000 and there's $1 billion, and then look at the $5 million house.
Proud to present to you the results.
All right, there's $1 million and there's $1 billion.
$1 billion.
All right, go back again. Million, billion. Now, Michael Bloomberg has 65 of those things on the right. Bernie Sanders has 2 of those things on the left. 65! 65! 65!
Bloated just thinking about that much.
I mean, that's such an enormous amount of money. Well, there'll be an enormous amount of rice at 100,000 a grain, but it's such an enormous amount of money. The guy is not. If he gave away 64 billion, there's no way he could possibly notice.
Well, he said he gives it all away.
Well, he doesn't.
It's funny how hurried he is to say, I'm giving it away, though.
But even if he
Takes a while to give away that much money.
here's the thing. Even if he does give it all away, the problem is
Alarm clock going off. Listen, guys.
that he, as one person, giving away that much money influences society in a way that is unhealthy. It's completely out of balance. I mean, I use the example ad nauseum of Bill Gates spending just less than $1 billion on an experiment that fundamentally altered the way that we perceive education in this country for almost 2 decades. And at the end of that 2 decades, a RAND report that they commissioned said, oops, our bad. We were completely mistaken in our theory. We should go back to what the educators were saying in the first place. Think of the generations of teachers that were lost because of that. Because that will echo through the years and has echoed in the past. And you have one person who's able to do that 64 times. Even if he gave away 64 of his $65 billion, the implications of what that would do. And one person's not supposed to have that much power in this country. I don't care if it's a question of them being king or just being named that. That's what an oligarch is. That's what an oligarch is. Even, not just with government, but their sheer ability to change the trajectory of sectors of our society because they have so much purchasing power. And that could be, even if he didn't want to influence government whatsoever, which they all do. And they get that much money, it's like, why wouldn't they? Like, they're sitting on Atlas, I mean, they're just sitting from Mount Vesuvius or whatever it's called. Well, thank you. And they're just going like, oh, you know what? I mean, they need me.
Well, it was only a matter of time before one of them would want to, cut out the middleman and just rule over us himself.
Yes. And people have made the point that if Bloomberg wins, Bloomberg gets the nomination, I got news for you. The days of having a non-billionaire be the nominee, I think that's over. Because they all now have a game plan.
Definitely the accelerationist option.
Yes, I would imagine, but let's go back to the debate. This is what is this clip? Okay, and this is Bernie talking, responding to Michael Bloomberg's claim about, I'm a billionaire, I'm giving away all my money.
That's the big one.
It is your policy.
Becky, it is my policy, and I'm very proud of that policy. All right? What we need to do to deal with this grotesque level of income and wealth inequality is make sure that those people who are working, you know what, Mr. Bloomberg, it wasn't you who made all that money. Maybe your workers played some role in that as well. And it is important that those workers are able to share the benefits. Also, when we have so many people who go to work every day and they feel not good about their jobs, they feel like cogs in a machine. I want workers to be able to sit on corporate boards as well, so they can have some say over what happens to their lives.
Michael Bloomberg did not appreciate the fact that his workers did anything like that.
I thought Bloomberg was assembling all the terminals in his garage,
creating all that value.
Wow. Bernie is good, man. Next thing you know, he's going to explain the labor theory of value in a way that makes sense to everyone.
Bloomberg
he basically did.
Yep. And
well, we know how he feels about his employees because we've seen the sexual harassment suits.
We have got so many wonderful
That was a
products. Are you
zinger.
ready to get started?
Skip ads.
This is that.
Just wow. It's like, poof. Trying to find anything to watch. Anything at all?
I'm Jonathan Larson with PYT Investigates, and today we have a new story out. It's the second in our series on South Bend's secret police tape. Last month I went to South Bend and I ended up getting the officers who were on the secret police tape to talk to me, some of them breaking 8 years of silence about what they said on the tape, how it became a public scandal, how Buttigieg handled it, what he knew, when he knew it, all of that. Our story today is about whose fault it was that there was a federal investigation. Now, for 8 years, Pete Buttigieg has said, he said first back in May 2012, that the reason, even though the federal investigation decided it led to no charges against Chief Darryl Boykins, he said he was still justified in removing Darryl Boykins because even if just the fact of bringing a federal investigation down onto your department means you can't be part of the leadership in the Buttigieg administration. So our story today reveals that according to the cops on the tape, it was actually Buttigieg's fault, not Boykins' fault, that there even was a federal investigation. Now, before I get into the details, I want to give you some context in terms of what this investigation meant, the demotion of Darryl Boykins, the partial revelations of Karen DePape, who spoke publicly before sort of going radio silent. She's the woman who worked for the police department, who heard these recordings and transferred some of them onto cassette tapes for Chief Boykins. She said that there were racist remarks on the tapes. And she said that there was a plan to remove Boykins. And the dots weren't really connected, but we reported last September that there were what clearly seemed to be racist remarks about Boykins and others. Now, the cops told me that they deny making some of those remarks and that others have been misinterpreted or were stupid or taken out of context. So that's their position. They don't remember exactly what they said. It was 9 years ago. So to some extent, it's difficult for them to know exactly what was said and in what context. But those allegations of racist rhetoric have been out there for 8 years. The demotion of the city's first black police chief was obviously a traumatic event for the city and certainly for the city's black community, and also for the police department. So in doing today's story, I wanted to get some sense of what kind of impact did that have? The fact that this became a big public scandal, with everything coming out the way it has, or not coming out the way it has. I asked the chief of police, a Buttigieg appointee, who didn't know at the time that he said this, why I was asking, but I asked him for the legacy that the tape issuers had on his city and on his department. And he said it's had an enormous impact on the police department, from hiring to retaining and trying to simply service our 95 to 100,000 calls per year. Morale has taken an extreme hit as well for every officer, regardless of race, gender, or rank. And he talks about hiring and retaining, and keep in mind that when Buttigieg was asked last year about the fact that diversity in his department went down under his reign as mayor, he said, I couldn't get it done. We previously reported, along with the Root, that one black officer told us that removing Boykins specifically hurt the ability to promote black officers within the department. Quote, Pete Buttigieg, by the demotion of Darryl Boykins, set the department back years. That was a couple months ago, that quote. For this one, I spoke to another black leader in South Bend, Henry Davis, who was on the Common Council at the time and is back on the council again today. He gave me a statement saying that the scandal has, quote, plagued our community for over 8 years and will forever be known as a documented miscarriage of justice. So essentially what we have here is a fairly traumatic event for the civic health and well-being of the city of South Bend, particularly in regard to race relations and policing. And according to the cops on the tapes, the fact that it happened the way it did was actually Buttigieg's fault. Here's what they told me. Steve Richmond was chief of the investigative division at the time in the South Bend Police Department.
Those items are basically the skills as a single-use item.
To Boykins. Boykins himself had said, I may not remain as chief when this new Mayor Buttigieg comes in. You should be ready to take over. And in fact, in December 2011, Buttigieg interviewed both Boykins and Richmond for the job. In early January 2011, after Boykins is
Any weapons upgrades for this team? No, there
Boykins
isn't. Fair enough.
confronts Richmond, says, I
Armor
hear
upgrades
you've
for
been
this team?
backstabbing me, refers to his interview with Buttigieg, and allegedly, according to Richmond, threatens
That one's
to
available,
demote
but I already
or
have better,
fire
so...
Richmond and other officers. Richmond told me he was now scrambling to try to figure out what to do to save his career, which he now saw as being in jeopardy for something that A, he denied doing, and B, from his point of view, he didn't say this, so I'm reading into his words, is not cause for dismissal or removal. So, on January 18th, he called Buttigieg's office and said, it's important, we need to speak with the mayor. The other person coming with him was Captain Brian Young, whose line it was, that actually was being recorded without Young's knowledge at the time. It's possible Young may have learned more recently that it had been recorded, but he believed that had ended by then. They don't get a meeting with Buttigieg, they get a meeting with Mike Schmuel. January 18th, 12:05 p.m., Richmond told me. He kept notes from the time. Schmuel is now the campaign manager for Buttigieg's presidential campaign. Here's Richmond quoting directly when I asked him about his meeting with Schmuel. What I told Schmuel, what Brian Young and I told him, I was speaking to him, Mr. Schmuel, this whole thing isn't about me not being selected as chief of police. I've lived my whole adult life, except for the 7 years I was an electrician, at that police department. I love the police department and the men and women in blue that work in the police department, and I don't want to do anything that's going to give the department a black eye. And I certainly didn't want to have any kind of a negative repercussion on the brand new administration. I said, but I need help, and will you please help me? I need somebody that's got more authority than me to put a stop to this, to figure out what's going on and why it's happening. Again, I reiterated a few times in that meeting that this isn't about not being selected as chief. That's nonsense, I don't want to embarrass the police department. Richmond goes on to explain why he's come to Buttigieg with this. I said, I can't go to internal affairs because I don't know who's all involved in this. I said, I'm not going to take it to the state police because if it's a federal thing, it's a federal wiretapping statute, then the FBI needs to be involved in it. Please help us. Young told me something similar about the meeting. Quote, we told Schmuel that we didn't want a black eye on the city. We didn't want a black eye on the police department. We weren't looking for any money. We said we don't want a nickel. We don't want a big circus about this. We just want it to stop. Young wanted his line no longer recorded. Richmond wanted not to be demoted or fired or have his career suffer as a result of this. According to Richmond, Schmuel's comment, quote, was, yeah, he was going to talk to the mayor. Schmuel was going to talk to the mayor because we can't have a police chief who's committing crime. Now, it's very important to note that the federal prosecutor that eventually looked at this said there is no prosecution warranted here, and that the tapes were the recordings were mistakenly made. But at the time, in Richmond's account to Schmuel, Richmond and Young talking to Schmuel, they're not aware of the particulars of how this happened. So what they're discussing seems pretty clear-cut in their eyes to be a violation of the federal wiretap statute, which requires consent of at least one of the parties involved. So Schmuel, taking their account at face value, says he's going to talk to the mayor. Later that night, January 18, 2012, Schmuel calls Richmond back. in Richmond now. He called back later that day and said that he had made the mayor aware of the situation, but they weren't going to do anything.
First strike!
So that's Richmond. They told the mayor, this is happening. We believe it's illegal. We want the reporting stopped. We want our line no longer recorded, and we don't want to be demoted. Now, obviously, John Boykin has somewhat of a different version of these events. And I've explained some aspects of that, right? So one thing is not even clear whether he knew at that point that Young's line, that it was illegal or what have you. So, I just want to be clear to make sure Boykin has not spoken publicly on this since 2012, so very difficult to interrupt and ensure that we're honoring his narrative of the whole. The campaign has declined to comment. They haven't told me that they're declining to comment, they just didn't respond. However, Shmuel has spoken about this before, but it wasn't public until last year. He was proposed in a court proceeding in 2013. And he reported it back in September. He basically confirmed what Richmond and Young were saying, but he leaves out the crucial information about the fact that they had the head office of our investigation, and he also does not address why. I'm going to read you the transcript of Shmuel's question under oath. Question: did you ever learn about how the federal authorities got involved in the investigation? What caused the investigation to start? Shmuel: yes. Certain police officers approached the FBI with some complaints to look into that issue. Question: how did you learn that information, or from where did you get that information? Shmuel: two of the officers came to my office in the county city building to complain early on in our time in office in January, to say that they thought their personal telephone conversations were being recorded and that the chief of police was listening to those conversations. Shmuel says later on, Stephen Richmond, that's the investigative division chief I mentioned, emailed me following the meeting to thank me for meeting with him and said, re-outlined what he said in the meeting, he also said that he was thinking of taking the complaint to an investigative authority. Question: what did you do to investigate this information? Sure, I told the mayor about it and that's about it. Question: do you want the mayor to send this up? No, we didn't have to. A day or two later, I got a call from U.S. Attorney David Katz saying that they were going to look into some issues in the Southland Police Department. Question: but before you got that, you didn't take any steps on behalf of the city to look into it? No. There's no explanation of why Shmuel and Buttigieg took no action. He said we didn't have to take action, but he didn't know that when they chose to take action because the call from the feds comes a day or two later. And by the way, even if you get a call from the feds, that doesn't mean you take no action. In theory, that means you definitely take action, right? If you want to avoid a public scandal, if you want to you call the U.S. Attorney back and you say,
hero counter!
Now, I want to be clear, I'm not advocating for cover up here. I'm not saying if someone did something wrong, it's going to come out. But the determination of whether anyone did something wrong, the mayor's office is under no obligation to do that to federal authorities. First of all, they're allowed to address it themselves if the complainant is the right cause. If they agree
that
they don't want to press charges, then it's not a cover-up not to press charges. You're honoring the alleged victim's request there, which is fairly standard. Now, obviously, if the city decided, no, we've got a willful, clear violation of the law here, which, by the way, was practices that the city's legal department knew about for years. Then, of course, the city, you could say, had an obligation to alert the feds. But again, alerting the feds doesn't mean you have to support or even can't fight back against a maximalist approach by the company. And it wasn't just this year. Tim Corbett, who was head of the county homicide unit at the time, was also This is from Shmuel's testimony against Shmuel. I had a meeting with Tim Corbett on or around the same time, and he complained as well about the same issue. Question, what specifically did he complain about? Shmuel, that he thought that former chief Wilkins was listening to private telephone conversations with certain officers in the police force. Question, what else did he say? Did he say how he knew that? Shmuel, no. Did he ask him? Or did he just listen? Shmuel.
Ogre sword!
Question, do you remember doing anything specific, taking any action, any from an meeting with the Shmuel? I don't think so, no.
Shadow flash!
What specifically do you recall? Question, what specifically do you recall Mr. Porter's saying? Shmuel, he was upset and he was mad. He thought the chief was listening to personal and private conversations with officers, people that he knows and works with, and he thought that somebody should look into it, should have an investigation. That's about it. I asked Wells about this. Wells is probably the most prominent officer on the recording because he works in county homicide. Rick Corbett is another officer there, a detective, and he is kind of giving a running recap. And John, who's over in the city police department, what they're talking about, especially regarding the Corbett so Wells was read in on it. He was getting briefed by Richmond and Young about what was happening in January 2012 with the mayor's office. Wells told me that I asked him, basically, if Buttigieg had taken Richmond's complaint and reached out to everyone on the tape, reached out to find the tape and said, what did you hear? And reached out to the Boykins and said, what do you believe you know? And reached out to the other people involved and said, what did you actually say? And you can do this without saying what's on the tape, right? Boykins was hearing rumors that had nothing to do with the tape. And you're allowed to, if you heard a rumor that something was on tape, you're allowed to say it. No one's ever gone to jail for that. And who would prosecute in this case anyway? So I asked basically, if the mayor's office had done some fact finding and talked to everyone and gotten them into a room and tried to reconcile this game of telephone. So one person thought they heard something a year ago and then related to someone else who might have gotten other information about other people but not known it was about other people. This constant stew of gossip and suspicion provided especially sensitive political time. Like the mayor phrases documents, there's changes being made, there's people talking about other people, there's people trying to raise themselves up. It's a hard situation to manage politically. But, so, you can say maybe someone with more experience would have prevented that situation from happening in the first place. We can't know that. But I did ask, after all this happened, all these suspicions are around there, threats are being made, all of this stuff, possibly racist stuff is being said, whether or not they had specific conscious racist intent, certainly also just racist with all of that out there, was it so possible for Buttigieg to go to everyone involved
Ogre sword!
and then reconcile things in ways that maybe they didn't have to like each other, but they could work together, they could put together, and they could move on. So this would have been settled in a room had he done just that.
Shadow flash!
He got us all in a room together to hash out what was going on. Instead of the secret BS that was going on behind the scenes. Had we had that one half-hour meeting, this thing would have been over. Instead, he didn't know what he was doing. He was switching weapons on his ears. Had he been a little more experienced with the kind of people actually knew local politics and how things work, he could have snubbed himself immediately and left Darryl Boykins as chief of police. So Wells' contention there is explicitly that they were not seeking to get Boykins out by means of this federal investigation. Corbett also told me I wasn't looking for anybody to go to prison or anything like that. We were like, destroy the tape. Don't do it again. Don't do it to anybody again. It would have been a done deal. Nobody would have known. We'd have just, hey, look, let's just go on with stuff. So whether you accept that as true or not, people are free to disagree. But
What's
at a
that
minimum,
again?
what we know is that
Fuel passing, please eject.
for 7 years, sorry, 6 years, the deposition smoother where he revealed that he and Buttigieg knew about the threatened investigation before it happened. That's in a legal document that the city gave to me. So no one is disputing that, which means that for 5 years, if I'm doing the math right, Buttigieg, or it's more than that, 7 years, Buttigieg was saying publicly that Boykins lost my trust because he didn't tell me about the investigation, when in reality, Buttigieg knew about the investigation first. We don't even know when Boykins found out about the investigation or how. So it's not clear when Buttigieg thinks Boykins should have come to him. And by the way, I had this conversation with the campaign back in September, and what the campaign told me was, well, Boykins never came to him. Okay, that's true. But that's a different thing than what Buttigieg is saying. Buttigieg is saying, I learned about it from the FBI. A, that's not true. And B, you learned about it from the FBI before Boykins knew about it. And I would say, you're the new mayor. You've been in office for 2.5 weeks. You find out for 3 weeks, let's say. You find out that the feds are investigating your police chief. At no point do you have a conversation with the police chief to say what's going on, or maybe the prosecutor told you not to talk to Boykins about anything. In this case, we still have the period of when Shmuel came to you and said, these guys are having an issue. They want us to deal with it, and if you don't, why would you not be the one to ask him about it instead of blaming him for not telling you about it? So, as I mentioned earlier, the Buttigieg campaign didn't respond to the comments, but there are a lot of outstanding questions that he has
Sword dance!
You guys are talking about how I lost you. I'm sorry. It's definitely a complicated issue. So notoriously bad that people
We did it!
Okay. Lena Jensen says, Jonathan Larson is an underestimated talent. Hopefully he will continue to contribute towards clarity and transparency. Yeah, well, that's very kind of you to say, but contributing towards clarity would probably be helpful if I were a little more clear in my storytelling. So hopefully, if you read the article, I posted a link to the article. If you take a look at the article, hopefully that spells things out a little bit more clearly than I did just now.
This'll be quick.
Says everybody seems to be in a good mood. I wonder if it's because Bernie's on his side. We can make him regularly. Milo Wagner says, do you realize next stop on residence will have the very serious effect of the police chief promotion? And not just the police chief promotion, but also the suspicion of already said on the which again has only come to us second-hand at best. And that's in reference to partial the police that I spoke to, especially the ones who are named in the documents as having said clearly racist stuff.
Well, that's
some
that,
of
I
it
guess.
They've denied saying. Some of it they've said, they've told me, look, if that's on there, I don't know, maybe I was joking, maybe it was a stupid, terrible BS kind of joke to make. But what they said it was not was evidence of racial animus towards Boykins or other officers. Now, that doesn't mean you have to let them off the hook for other stuff, or even that you have to believe them, but at a minimum, that conversation has not been had either internally, back when Buttigieg had that conversation, or externally by the city because they've been quiet for so long. So, whether that changes now, we will see.
Right over! Here it comes!
Okay!
Here I come!